All right, my fellow BBIG friends, we got the update for you guys. We're going to be looking at the BBIG Gamma Squeeze, comparing it to other stocks that have undergone Gamma Squeezes, seeing if we potentially peaked out. Maybe we got some more juice. Maybe next week we see some upside. Every stock plays out differently, but we could use historical reference points to see what is the most likely scenario to come. So if you guys don't mind dropping that like on the video, it's always highly appreciated. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to everyone who joins me on the live stream. Tomorrow is BBIG week day 4, the fourth and final day of this BBIG week saga. So it is always so fun being with you guys. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So here we have on Webull 4 different stocks that have gone under these Gamma Squeezes. First one's obviously BBIG, then we have Progenity, then we have Support.com, and then we have AMC. In my personal opinion, BBIG is probably more similar to Progenity and Support.com than AMC. They're all different stocks. They all have different floats. Different events occurred which changed the price action up unrelated to the Gamma Squeeze, right? So there's a lot that's similar, but also a lot that's different. And just giving a brief look at how these charts look, you can see that not every single one looks the same, right? So first and foremost, we can compare it to Progenity. So Progenity actually saw their peak on a Wednesday. All right. So we saw right here, if this was the peak for BBIG, this was on a Tuesday, and there was no market open on Monday too. So that would have been the first day of the trading week. This was 3 days into the trading week. Progenity actually saw that peak, but also Progenity didn't actually run the week before. Leading up to this Gamma Squeeze potential in BBIG, we did actually run up the previous week. So that's a difference right there. Now, once Progenity did peak, it peaked in pre-market. BBIG would have peaked in after hours. Progenity, when it fell down, it fell down at market open after shooting up again, and then it fell right down. It was blood. The next day was also blood. But then on Friday, or options expiration, it did come up, but it did not go back up to its peak. All right. So tomorrow is options expiration, the monthly options expiration, the highly anticipated date for BBIG. And we potentially, if it follows that Progenity path, we could see after 2 days of blood a nice solid reversal, and that is likely due to delta hedging that has not already occurred throughout this week. If you actually look at the option chain right here, they did get a majority of this open interest out of the money, so they possibly could not have hedged, right? Who knows what happened? There was obviously some sketchy price action going back to what happened 2 days ago right here in pre-market. Again, the sell-off that pretty much ignited what we're seeing right now was from 4 a.m. to like 7 a.m. So that's not retail. That's just not retail. This was an algorithmic sell-off. And the point being is that they were able to push it down. They were able to get all of these options out of the money. Market makers, who would have guessed that they had that ability? Not me. And instead of just exposing market makers and getting mad about it, letting it fuel up my emotions, I'm trying to use it to my advantage, right? Try to get in their heads, because there's going to be that opportunity to make money if you can figure out what market makers are going to do. And a lot of the times it's just going to be pushing these calls out of the money. Now, what could potentially happen is if we do see that violent up day into options expiration because of the options that are still in the money, and potentially if we get back over $4 per share, that would send another 31,000. There could be some last minute hedging, and that could potentially send us up, similar to how Progenity went up on its options expiration. Now, we've also seen in the past that there was not a huge push into options expiration, but after options expiration, it does shoot up. So that's what we saw with Support.com. So 8/20, August 20th, was options expiration for Support.com. During that week, it ran up to about $10 per share from about like $8 per share is running from that. That's not a big gain. That's 20% or so. But if you look at what happened after options expiration, the following Monday on 8/23, the squeeze started, and there was a huge, massive run up the whole following week. So there is potential for a run up following the massive options expiration. Market makers can potentially use a bunch of failure to delivers to pin down the stock price, keeping the options out of the money like we're currently seeing in BBIG, and then the following week buy it up, and that could create a bunch of buying pressure. Progenity did actually see something similar right over here on October 15th. So October 15th was the big options expiration for Progenity. Not as big as 11/19, but still big. And then after 10/15, it did run up that following Monday and Tuesday. So that is another potential scenario that could occur in BBIG stock. Now, AMC is another case study we can look at, but it's probably the least correlated to BBIG. It actually ran up on a weekly expiration right here, and then it sold off a little bit, and then trending up into the monthly expiration. It actually saw a peak, not a long-term peak. Obviously, 72 was the peak over here, but it did see a peak getting back up to $65 per share on their options expiration, and then since then, it has pretty much not recovered from that point. Now, what's in common with all of these gamma squeezes, right? Support.com goes down. Progenity, after this massive squeeze on 11/19, it trends back down. So even on AMC, right, after the massive squeeze, it does trend back down. So that's what we do see. So these are very volatile, so manage your risk accordingly. But just keep in mind that there are still opportunities on the table. Nothing is 100% set in stone. All of these different squeeze plays did turn out differently. One thing to note about Progenity is that after it trended up on 11/19, there was anticipation that it would pull something like support, right? And it'll have its serious run up the next week. But what happened on Monday, which killed the momentum, is the company announced dilution. So that is a potential risk unrelated to the gamma squeeze that could affect the potential price action. So if no factors change within the next 2 days, there definitely is a chance that the following week, where there is a lot less open interest, we could see the run up in BBIG, but I'm not making any promises, guys. And just looking at history, a lot of these gamma squeezes, once they see their peak, they peaked, right? And there's no exception for BBIG. We very well could have seen that peak over here at $5.99 in after hours the other day. I'd like to quickly thank the sponsor of this video, which is Moomoo Stock Brokerage. You can get your free share of AMC as long as you deposit $100 on their platform. Now, you don't have to deposit $100 to get money from Moomoo. You can actually deposit $1 and you can get up to $7,000 in free stock. So if you want the cherry on top, you can deposit $100, get that free AMC stock, but all you really got to do is deposit $1, get up to $7,000 in free stock. So you can check out Moomoo using the link below in the description or pinned comment section to get that free stock. But anyways, let's get right back into the video. BBIG is now number 4 on the short squeeze leaderboard. So it has the highest market cap of the short squeeze leaderboard. So if we're just taking out $100 million in market cap or less, BBIG is number 1. 0 shares available, but that was updated yesterday right there. And the short volume as of yesterday was about 54, so still pretty high. Moving into Ortex, you guys can see right here, cost to borrow actually spiked up to 317. Everything else is pretty much the same, but it is definitely getting pretty ugly for short sellers. And the whale flow today was also very unusual. There was tons of puts being placed with the size greater than open interest or volume greater than open interest. So lots of big premiums would come in, like the $633,000 put, but it probably wasn't filled because there just isn't the liquidity for that. So it's definitely skewing the data a little bit, making it look very bearish here. 92% bearish. Supposedly, the bears are going for that 218, but if we do end up putting a cap right here to weed out those outliers of 100,000, it paints a little bit of a different picture. It goes to 47% bullish, 53% bearish. So bulls are going for this close expiration. Bears are really hammering in that 218 expiration. Historical flow, we still saw some high call option volume today, but just like the actual volume, it did in fact go down. And like I was mentioning in all of my previous videos, historically speaking, when call option volume spikes up, it is a decent time to be scaling out. We saw it back here in September, we saw it back here in October, and we potentially could be seeing it again right here in January. The biggest option trades of today were all just insane amounts of premiums by floor traders, completely skewed, right? Most of these orders probably didn't fill size greater than open interest, but that was the theme of today, guys. These deep in the money put options expiring on February 18th, 2022. Max pain for tomorrow is still at 4.5, so $4.50. There are a lot of puts as well, so put holders can potentially be getting burned as well, especially the short-term holders, which would imply that we actually do move up tomorrow from 393 up to 4.5, which would be a decent return. And then looking at the gamma exposure, since we are trending down, there is less gamma exposure here at the $6 and $5 strike price, but now it's increasing at the $4 strike price, right? So if we could get a nice push into tomorrow, it could potentially push us over 4, over 450, over 5, but then the juice definitely runs out after that $5 per share. So I do think the best target for tomorrow, most bullish case scenario, is that the rebound goes to $5, but it very well could remain bearish, guys. These market makers are going to try to keep all of these contracts out of the money if it means completely doing something illegal. And we also got this unusual whale alert today, fired around lunchtime, a $5.50 call option, so out of the money there, expiring on February 25th, 2022. So perhaps this whale knows something. Perhaps we get that rally within the coming month. But there was not too much volume on this, only 49,000. So that's all I really got, guys. We compared BBIG's gamma squeeze that we're seeing now to all the other gamma squeezes that we have seen in the past. Well, not all the other ones, but the ones that I thought were probably the most similar to what we're seeing in BBIG, which was support, Progenity, and AMC, obviously. And we get an idea of what could potentially happen. Best case scenario is that this leads us into running next week. Worst case scenario means that we peaked out on Tuesday this week and we slowly bleed out. Anything could really happen. The whale flow was pretty bearish, so I'm not getting my hopes up right now, but we are playing this day by day, seeing what happens and adjusting accordingly. Again, just like I said yesterday, the theme to this squeeze is limiting risk. If you're chasing at this point, I do encourage stop losses, although it is not financial advice. And for everyone who did manage to make some money on this, whether it was call options or shares, and you did get out, I know a ton of people actually did take profit above $5 per share. So that was totally amazing seeing people with those gains. Congratulations, guys. You deserve it. It has been an amazing week. We've got one more day of BBIG week. Day 4 tomorrow, baby. Join me live on stream. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Say hi in chat. We have a good time. We did a workout stream today. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed this content. Subscribe if you're new. And check out Moomoo if you want that one free share of AMC or up to 7,000 in free stock. Anyways, I'll be seeing you guys later. See ya.